I really enjoyed my time both in undergraduate and in PhD. I think I was given many amazing opportunities to work with colleagues both in Australia and overseas, work on really interesting problems that a lot of people don't have time to think about, and really sort of thinking about those deep questions about the universe, which was just such an amazing time in my life. So I had mixed feelings about leaving something that I really enjoyed and loved, but I did feel like the career opportunities were a bit limiting in a few different ways. Once I was applying for those postdoc positions, I was really questioning what do I want for my next steps, and then started evaluating what sort of roles and companies would really excite me in the future.
Research is a very unique experience. It often felt like working on the coalface, trying to make a tiny dent in the extent of human knowledge. There's a few times where it felt like we achieved that, and that was the best part of it all.
When we had a dream, we defined that in a state of a children, right? We didn't know what a career in astronomy was like, and we also thought that a career is forever. At some point, I started to realize that my childhood dream is achieved, and I want something else. Things change, we change, our priorities change. I think change is the only stable parameter in the whole universe. Everything changes.
About halfway through my PhD, I kind of hit a roadblock in my research. It's not an uncommon thing to happen in academia where you're banking on something to happen and then for one or another reason, it just kind of falls apart. I started looking into the actual job prospects post-PhD. So there was a lot of talks of how many postgraduate jobs there are in the market. So if I wanted to pursue a postdoc, it would basically entail leaving the country, leaving all of my family and all of my support network, and traveling overseas. Taking all of that together, I kind of concluded that academia wasn't really for me.
The reason why I decided to leave professional astronomy is because of the career that I've built as a science communicator. That is a much more viable career option for me than continuing in academia.
So the reasons I decided to leave astronomy are actually manyfold. They're all related, but they're all sort of individual reasons. So some of it has to do with the academic career, right? So the academic career is one that's very competitive. You have to normally try to win fellowships to get permanent positions, and I was kind of looking for something permanent, as opposed to a postdoctoral position, which has shorter term contracts. There's the fact that I also had a family, so the family made, let's say, the choice of where we wanted to live. We didn't want to necessarily move too much. And on top of that, so I'm not an Australian, I'm Canadian. I had a work visa, and visas and Australian citizenship also add another layer of complexity. If my contract ended, I would have had to have left Australia somehow during COVID. And I was trying to find something that was a bit more permanent that might offer a path to citizenship in Australia, permanent residency, so we wouldn't necessarily have to move and we could have a more stable future, because I didn't necessarily want to uproot kids all the time.
There was not a suitable academic job for me to continue on after my first postdoc. I wanted to stay with my family in Canberra. Moving is quite difficult for us. There's quite a big emphasis on the number of papers or publication to get a good job in academic. So the nature of the work that I do doesn't quite fit. Also, I just want to see if there are other opportunities, other things that I can do, just try out different things and new things.
So the things that I didn't necessarily like much about astronomy were the real pressure to publish all the time. Even sometimes, I would have results that I felt like weren't very strong, or not for any fault of mine, or just because the observations didn't come out as we expected. And if I had had the choice, I would not have published that paper, but I didn't really feel like I had a choice. The only way I think I would have stayed in astronomy is if I had gone to work for an observatory in a very technical role, because I think that was one of the things that I didn't really fit with me in astronomy, was that I feel like I'm more of a technical kind of person, and doing research and writing papers, while it was interesting, I think it just really fit with my personality and what I liked about science and technology.
So I decided that I needed to leave the whole research moving pathway, because I felt like I was running backwards on the moving pathway. It's a difficult job to do full-time, professionally, and to do well. There are some very brilliant people working very hard and very dedicated, spending 25 hours a day doing their work. And I couldn't compete in that environment, not successfully. So I felt it was better for me as a life choice to step sideways, still be involved in astronomy because I enjoy it immensely, but to do something which was related but not running backwards down that moving footpath.